spirituality does not mean that we do our meditation, we go to temple, synagogue, or mosque, or we read the scriptures, sacred scriptures, whether it is Bible, Quran, or the Bhagavad Gita. Spirituality has nothing to do with that. Unless there is a kind of yearning to know who am I. If we do not have that yearning, then any of our activity is invalid. So with that yearning, if we do the meditation, or we go to church, or we read the scriptures, then it creates a validity of those actions. Because imagine we have no idea who am I, and I have no interest to know who am I. What kind of a person am I? Am I lost or not lost? Right? I'm lost because if I have no idea who am I, and I have no interest to find out who am I, so I'm kind of lost. And a lost person, if lost person wants to do some kind of an action, is that those actions are valid or invalid? What should be his primary action? To find, to quest. So this quest is a spiritual life. This yearning, the intensity that I'm not going to rest until I find who am I. And so we have the path working meditation, we have the hierarchy meditation, and we have the Kabbalah classes, we have lectures, we have church, and all those things. They become significant. But you can go to the church, you can do the meditation, you can do read the scriptures, you can come to the classes, and you have no interest to find out who you are. You have no interest. Does that make you a spiritual person? A lot of people participate in those kinds of actions without a yearning, without an intensity. You see, so when we moved to this new house, new place, one day, the very first week, Chris Jennings, he's the husband of Vicky Hogue, he was helping me in patio, and Shirley was sitting in a big sun room, and this guy just walked in, and when we asked him, why did you come here? He had no idea. When we asked him who you are, he had no idea. He was under some kind of an influence that he was completely lost. He had no idea where he was coming. He had no idea who he is. He had no idea that where he is heading, and he had no idea why did he come to our house. Because somehow the door was open, so that he just walked in. Did you know what I did? What would you do? Call 911. We should call 911 for ourselves, right? We should call 911. So this is an emergency. If you do not understand how emergency it is, then the action is not going to have any intensity. And an action without intensity is kind of like non-existential. We lose the focus. You see, Jesus said that pray unceasingly. How can you pray unceasingly? How can you have a great invocation all the time, or Lord's Prayer all the time? Can you do that all the time? If a surgeon is doing the surgery and having a Lord's Prayer, I guarantee you that surgeon is going to make a mistake, and the patient is going to have more trouble. Your mind cannot go into two different directions at the same time. I am speaking to you, and back of my head, if I do the Lord's Prayer, I am not going to be able to speak or do the Lord's Prayer at the same time. It's impossible. There is a way, so the prayer was designed not to forget God, But we all almost forgot the reason why the prayer exists even. My mother used to send me to the market to buy bread, and I will go and meet my friends and come back without buying bread. So she started giving me a handkerchief with a knot and said that look at this knot and remember that you need to buy a loaf of bread. And then after playing and all that things, I will even forget that I have a handkerchief, forget about that knot. Sometimes I will look at the knot and I said, oh, why the heck there is a knot in this handkerchief? So these kind of prayers were designed for us to remind that our life is divinely at a time that when we are forgetting. It is not to forget divinity. The prayer were designed not to forget divinity. But unceasing prayer is to see the divinity in whatever you do. So the patient is also divine, the doctor is a divine, the tools are divine, the room is also divine. When your vision completely changes, you see that what we say at the end of the church, when you go out here, you see the divinity in every being, everyone. But this is the key part of the Christ teaching. You see the divinity in everyone. How can you see the divinity in everyone if you are unable to see the divinity in yourself? Can you see the divinity in yourself if you have no idea who you are? This is where the faith comes into a play. Not belief, but faith. Sun is out there. Do you have a belief or you know? When you know, belief is not required. Belief is only required when you do not know. And with that kind of a belief, always doubt permeates in our mind. You cannot escalate doubt. It is a part that comes of a duality, belief and doubt together. They're married. They never divorce. Thus, faith plays a very significant role. Faith is that knowing the sun is out there. I may not see the sun. I can't see the sun right now. But faith is that knowing the sun is out there. In our life, if we can just remember this much, that we are more than physical body, more than our feelings, just two things. The mindfulness that when you interact in every situation, no matter how big or how small is the situation, if you can remind yourself this two things, that you are more than physical body and you are more than your feelings, you already have accumulated some kind of a faith and you are expressing the divinity and you are going to see the divinity in others also. It is a practice that will remarkably change your attitude. Are you with me? This just a simple practice. One time there was a very wise man, did not have any kind of a food, and he was living in Agra. Agra in India is where Taj Mahal is. And his friend used to live in South India, in a city called Hyderabad. True story. And this guy in Agra, wise guy, he did not have any money, he did not have a job. He was struggling for food, one meal a day. But he loved Taj Mahal. His friend kept calling him that come and I will take care of you, I will give you the food and all you need. And this is like 18th century story. That time they didn't have the flight, train or any kind of a motor vehicle. So he said, no, I cannot leave. I must see the Taj Mahal all the time. So his friend was very compassionate and he said, look, he decided to send his elephant and his man to bring him back to South India. And he trained his men that he will argue that he wants to see the Taj Mahal. At that point, you say, okay, why don't you sit facing Taj Mahal backward on the elephant? So you can, the elephant will keep moving, but you still will see the Taj. And somehow, if you move away from Agra, then he would not ask to see the Taj. Well, the next morning they were ready to go, and he was sitting backward looking towards the Taj Mahal and moving outside of the city. And as soon as they keep moving away from the Taj Mahal, then his view continued to get like, like not that clear. And Taj Mahal began to disappear. So at this point he said, no, wait a second. You guys are fooling me. I'm not leaving this city. Even in few miles, I can't see the Taj Mahal, and you're going to take me to a different city? It's not happening. Let me live here and leave me alone no matter what happens. No matter even if I die out of hunger. I'm not leaving the Taj view. And I want to tell you this story because the view of our soul is Taj Mahal. Do not leave that view no matter what is the cost. No matter what is the distraction, whatever somebody is promising you, but don't leave this inner view of the Taj Mahal. This is how you see the divinity. This is how you see a recognition that who you are and live your daily life.